The boundaries, because if you don't have boundaries on who you regard inside the movement will destroy itself, and it will create a PR nightmare for everybody in it. And the boundaries that he set forth, William Buckley, in early 1960s, were twofold. You have to expunge all anti-Semitism, all of it, but that's just part of it, from the conservative movement. The other is you have to expel the lunatics, okay? The lunatics who think that Eisenhower was a communist, okay? And a whole bunch of, and we have them back now, okay? They are both here back just the way they were in 1959. And we have to go back and set the general parameters. You say, oh, we don't cancel. We do cancel. Did we cancel David Duke? Yes. You don't even know who David Duke was, probably most of you. I'd say. You know? Yes. Did we cancel the John Birch Society? Yes. Okay? Because they were harmful. Because if they're in your movement, you look like clowns. Okay? And the issue here is Tucker Carlson. And I think, Mr. President, you don't understand the post-fact Fox Tucker Carlson. If you're not watching the interview with Daryl Cooper or Nick Fuentes, if you don't watch Nick Fuentes online, you don't know what's going on here. Okay? Who's Daryl Cooper? Well, you need to know who Daryl Cooper is.
Well, I talked to Tucker about Daryl Cooper last year.
Okay. Well, a lot like Eisenhower being a communist there. Whole lot. Okay? So with Tucker, you have both of these things. Tucker's show is like stepping into a lunatic asylum. This is Tucker, Daryl Cooper, Tucker, Nick Fuentes, and we'll talk about, he's not having Nick Fuentes online, he's promoting him, okay? And Candace Owens, so forth, okay? So if you have someone inside the conservative movement who literally says that, oh my goodness, you know, Hitler really didn't want World War II. He was kind of a peaceful guy. It was Winston Churchill that caused this whole thing. My God. Eisenhower is a communist, okay? If someone is that nutty, and I know you're too young to care about, I'm a boomer, World War II is a big thing to me, but my God, if you could be that wrong about the World War II, you are wrong about everything on planet Earth, okay? And then Nick Fuentes, okay? This guy is a neo-Nazi. He adores Hitler. He says he was a effing cool guy, okay? Do we want him in the conservative movement? Do we want people that are adjacent to him in the conservative movement? But if you look at what Carlson did, he wasn't ventilating Nick Fuentes. He wasn't telling the public about who this neo-Stalinist, vile, racist. He is the most hateful person I think I've ever seen, potentially, allegedly on the right. Did Carlson reveal this? Did he ask him one meaningful question? No. If you were to go after this, you could find 1,000 insanely toxic things that Nick Fuentes has said, all of which Carlson not only didn't reveal, he concealed them. And if you watch that interview, when he actually gets to the one point that's meaningful, and Nick Fuentes says, yeah, I've loved Stalin since I was a teenager. He's my number one guy. And Carlson says, we'll talk about that later. And then you never talk about it. And so he massages him. That was the most moderate interview, the most moderate presentation of Nick Fuentes I think has ever existed, all orchestrated by Tucker to mainstream him and bring him into the conservative movement. This guy...
Dr. Rector?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The question is, what is the role of someone who is doing this, who's mainstreaming a neo-Nazi Stalinist online, and who believes that Churchill was the cause of World War II? What role does that person have inside the conservative movement, looking back to what Bill Buckley told us at the very beginning of this movement? That's my question.
Robert Rector, I love you. Thank you. I agree with you. And one thing, there'd be a lot of things to say, but so we can get to another question, but I want to address your fair question. I can speak to Heritage's role, which I see very clearly now, one of the lessons learned 6 days in. And that is, we do what we've always done, which is to confront those noxious ideas. And secondly, to be clear, that Fuentes, people like Fuentes, they aren't conservatives. There's no way that can be construed that way, or at least in a way that's persuasive. But we also, and this is not disputing what you've said, but adding to it a tactical desire, we have to understand that in 2025, that evil person, Fuentes, although I still have hope for his soul, has an audience of several million people. And at least some of that audience might be open to be converted. My video didn't do that, although the intention was to open that idea, not to endorse what Fuentes is saying, but quite the opposite, to appeal to them. And that might be one of our medium-term goals that comes from this, is to, if they're totally off base, not worry about them. But if there's a segment of that audience who might be with us and they really are not Nazis and anti-Semites, then maybe we can eventually bring them into the fold. I think we have to think that way.